Welcome to the Daily Handicapping Seminar at the Fall Turf Meeting at Gulfstream Park West. Ron Nicoletti, along with track announcer Pete Aiello. You see on the board there, Pete, sloppy track off the turf today. I hope it's better for tomorrow, but today we'll deal with that sloppy track.
Well, it's something that may be a silver lining in the fact that we have a pick 5 and a pick 6 carryover here this afternoon. Degree of difficulty, I don't know if it went up or down with the races being transferred from the turf to the main track, but the carryover in the Rainbow 6 is 41-48. And the pick 5 carryover here this afternoon, just north of the $7,000 marker, 71-73. And the 50-cent pick 5 races are transferred from the turf to the main track. We'll talk about that and how it impacts the multi-leg sequence today.
Yeah, and every time we have a carryover in the pick 5, it's amazing. People really get involved in it. Even if it's not a big carryover, they still get involved. And we go up near the $100,000 mark, $75,000 mark. Comes a good bet, like you said. And if you're an off-track handicapper, today might be your day.
Well, I'll be investing. We got paid today, so rest assured I'll have a pick 5 ticket.
He'll be playing, that's for sure. Well, our first race, let's start it off, was originally scheduled for the turf. We run at 1 mile. Fillies and mares 3 and up. Non-winners of 3 races or race since April 29th, I believe. $30,000 down to $25,000. Scratch to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that part of the race is gone. I went with the number 10 in here, JL's Princess. You went to the 6 horse in here with Wonderfully Wild.
Yeah, this is strictly a fact of the matter of the dirt course playing a big role in this race. Number 6, Wonderfully Wild's last 2 races on the dirt were a first and a second. Not a whole lot of dirt form in here. Pretty much everybody else on the race either has no form of any kind or their form is strictly turf. Not a huge endorsement from me, but Wonderfully Wild appears to be the best horse in here. Should have enough tactical speed to lay close enough. I will say one thing for our analysis yesterday. We were dead on right about the racetrack. It was hard to make ground yesterday until the racetrack started drying out. Then you could come from behind. Yeah,
I kept the 10 up there. JL's Princess debuting locally for David Casson, who was 4 for 4 in the money at the track. Not so far since he's been here. This horse ran a couple of really nice seconds versus similar at Arlington, albeit on the turf. This horse has won on a synthetic surface, but has never been on a wet track. So a bit of a guess there. Used the 6 Wonderfully Wild for all the reasons you mentioned, and then I added the number 7 English Bank. Will try to slop today after drawing clear late to defeat $25,000 claimers at a mile. However, you look at his previous record on this track, on a wet track, was back in April. Did not fare too well.
Yeah, this is really a tricky race if you try to get outside the 6 or the 10. The 10 does have a pretty good dirt race at Churchill back in May, but they certainly appear the top 2 in this first race of the afternoon. I use the 9, the Real McCoy. She hasn't proven she hates dirt. She's only been on it twice. We'll see if she can get a share of this first race. First half of the early daily double.
Let's go to the second race, 1 mile, 3 and up. Non-winners of a race since April 24th, $6,250. Scratch the number 6, Speedy Berg, and we both have the number 8, Lion King, on the top of our tickets.
Well, you see me shake my head. I really like Speedy Berg, and here I'm disappointed that he scratched. He was going to be my key in the early double today. I back into the 8, Lion King. This horse is a horse that has proven he likes an off track. He's 2 for 2 in the top 2 on a sloppy main track. With the scratch of the 6, Speedy Berg, that helps number 8, Lion King. It will aid him in getting closer to the lead and doing so in a much slower fashion. He might have some tactical advantage here, and I backed into him, whereas you liked him all along. So
yeah, I did.
Talk him up some more.
Yeah, Lion King, he was steady early when finishing 4th against Similar. I just think he's going to sit a nice trip, and I think the key is going to be second-time blinkers. How about the 1 horse, Temecula Creek? This one is a hard-trying 10-year-old, going to depart from the rail today after closing to finish 3rd in front of Lion King last time out, beating length at this level of distance. This campaigner, 0 for 11 this year, always seems to be there. I'm not convinced he's going to make it to the winner's circle, but I just think he has to be somewhere on the ticket.
You're probably right. Temecula Creek is graded stakes tested in his racing career. Certainly not graded stakes caliber anymore, but his heart still certainly is in the game. He tries very, very hard each and every time. I used the 4, My Nicky, on a class drop for second. Pete Wazalik Jr. and Luca Panici. This horse stretches out and takes a pretty steep drop in class. Could wake him up for a share here this afternoon. He has never registered a victory on an off track. A horse that is a 3-time winner on an off track is my 3rd play. He'll be long, too. Number 3, Sir Sparky. So if you think the 6, Wonderfully Wild's the key in the first race, probably be my approach. I'll key the 6 in the first half of the double, maybe spread a little bit in race 2, try to get a nice price.
Well, I also used the 2 this time. Tis time is now. This one is an obvious choice. I think if you like Lion King and you agree with Temecula Creek, this one was on the lead with those horses or near the lead with them. I think you're going to have it on the ticket. Our third race this afternoon, originally scheduled for 7.5 furlongs on the turf, now moved to a mile on the main track. It moves to a mile here when we go from turf to turf, from turf to dirt at Gulfstream Park West. 3 and up, non-winners at 3, 16,000. Scratch the 3, 5, and 9. I went with the 10 horse in here, Romeo Byrne, one of the main track onlys. How'd you see the race, Pete?
I don't know that I did. I like the 8 horse in here, number 8, Beantown Skipper. He's a horse that's been facing lifetime condition horses just as everybody else. He's been facing a little lower ranks of the lifetime condition horses, though. He's been faring quite well. I liked his race on the turf last time out. I like the way he's been performing. He's kind of a stubborn horse. He wants to be part of this racing game, and he likes to lay on or near the lead. He's kind of one-paced. Francisco Masonette rides him very, very well, and he certainly will be in front of number 10, Rome Byrne. But Rome Byrne entered for main track only. When guys enter for main track only and the races come off the grass, those horses invariably are well spotted, and there's no difference here between Colonel John, the 11, and the 10, Rome Byrne. They both loom large here.
Yeah, they both loom large. Rome Byrne, you look at its performance, 2 lifetime performance at Monmouth on that wet track listed as good, really performance. And Colonel John, as you mentioned, never beaten on a wet track, 2 for 2, and skipped the condition last time out to defeat 3 lifetime claimers while still eligible for 2 lifetimes. So that was a pretty nice performance.
That's a very nice performance and an astute evaluation on your part. The number 11, Colonel John, beat Lion King, who's in the second race today. Lion King were to win it, that moves Colonel John up even further. Race number 3 today is kind of a tricky race. I think that with the off-the-turf special, if this is the first leg of your pick 4, not sure you really want to take a stand here. Maybe just get by this race with 2 or 3 horses, possibly 4, if you use all of our selections together.
Well, let's go to the 4th race. 1 mile maiden claim is 3 and up, $12,500. Jockey change on the 4, make the rider Pedro Monterrey Jr. I went with the number 8 in here, Ararat, and you went with the 2, Captain's Game.
I don't think Ararat gets 2 turns, so if he wins, I lose. I like the 2, Captain's Game, who will probably be tracking the 8 horse Ararat in the run around the racetrack. Second start back in South Florida for trainer Norman Pointer. This horse's only race in the slop came here at Gulfstream Park West. It was a good second place finish behind an odds-on winner in Matt Caron that afternoon. He's rounding back into form. He ran pretty well last time out. He's got enough tactical speed to be in a contending position early and track down some of that stretch-out speed, i.e. Ararat, and get first run on the closers. I like him quite a bit here.
Well, I went with Ararat because if you follow my analysis at all, you know I'm always enamored with horses going from turf to dirt. And if you look at the trainer, Hubert Pinnock, not very much big sampling, but he's 29% with horses going from turf to dirt. And this horse, 3 previous races on the wet track, has hit the board in one of those. Captain Game, for all the reasons you mentioned. Then I threw in the 9, Makuto. You did too, just to, I think, could be on the board somewhere. The connection certainly make it more appealing, that Antonio Sano.
Yeah, sure, certainly the 9 horse Makuto has a chance. He didn't really do much running last time out, but then again, neither did my second play, number 1, Mr. Kitten. I liked him last time. He ran pretty bad. He was shuffled back, though. He did have some trouble. He wasn't optimally placed. Makes a rider switch here from Hugo Sanchez to Fernando Jara. Fernando's a lot more aggressive rider than Hugo is, so I think that Fernando will try to get him in a little bit better spot early, much more aggressive in the early part of it with an inside post. I want him to land off the speed, 3rd or 4th, tracking inside. That would be fine with me. I'm going to use 2 deep in this race in my pick 4, 1 and 2.
We're going to go to the 5th race, and we're going to show you a 5 furlong this race. Now, 5 furlongs was scheduled for the turf. Now on the main track, $16,000. Scratch the 1, 2, 4, 5, and number 8 horse in here. We're going to go back and show you a video. And what I wanted to ask you, Pete, we really liked this horse when it was going to run on the turf today. This was the statutorial that I left on my ticket. We're going to see him. He really closed nicely in here. I don't know how that's going to translate today to this wet track.
I don't either, but I know that he does have some races over this main track that are good enough to win this race. He was second behind Mr. Baker on the dirt. Mr. Baker's stakes caliber performer. He was a winner on the main track against County Gun, who's a solid allowance horse. So I don't know. I always consider Statutorial to be on his best game on the turf, but the reality of this situation is he's won more races on the dirt than he has on the turf. So I really don't know. You see that he's not on my ticket on the top 3. It's because he's probably my 4th number in here. But again, I don't know that I want this race to knock me out of the multi-leg ticket, so I might spread here. First leg of our Rainbow Six.
Yeah, we both went with the 7 on top. And Aries Pride, if you look at its record on a wet track, 4 previous races with 3 seconds. Stepping up today to this off this $6,250 claim in which he ran second to a really hard-knocking horse called Dangerous Trick. Angel Quiros is 18% with the new claims. Got Statutorial, as I mentioned. And I used the 3, and you did too, D. Price. A pretty good record on a wet track, 3 for 5 in the money.
Yeah, DePrice definitely wanted this race off the grass, at least in my opinion. So he gets his optimum surface here today. Ari's Pride also gets his optimum surface. This is a pretty steep step up in class. Surprised to see that we both picked this horse. Jesus Rios on board, as you mentioned, for trainer Angel Quiros. This horse, he has a pretty good turn of foot for a sprinter. If you point him in the right direction and say go, he'll go for you. You just have to time the move right. And I think he does have a chance in here. He likes the wet track. This is not a race where it's really an easy race. You know, we have, 5 horses in here. I think all 5 of them have a shot. So either you single or you buy.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the number 6, the Jackal, was used on my ticket simply to mention the fact that he's making his first start in a long time, almost an 11-month layoff for trainer Monty Brinsley. But he definitely is a horse that on his best game is capable of being a factor, and he'll be the longest of the 5 in here.